All right, let's talk about this, because I've been getting messages about it all day, and I cannot stay quiet anymore. Kawhi Leonard is a Toronto Raptor again. Yeah, you heard that right. The single biggest story come out the first day of free agency wasn't even a free agency move. It was a trade. The Clippers shipped Kawhi back up north, and somehow, in the middle of all the noise, everybody wants to act like this suddenly makes Toronto a contender in the East. As a Knicks fan, I need you to sit down for a second, because we're going to break this thing apart piece by piece. And by the end of this video, I think you're going to feel exactly the way I do about it. Before we get into it, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, because I cover every single move that touches our team, good, bad, or ugly, and trust me, this league is not slowing down anytime soon. And if you agree with anything I say in the next 10 minutes, smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel more than you know. Okay, let's get into it. So here's the pitch the Raptors are selling their fan base. Kawhi Leonard just wrapped up a season where he averaged a career-high 27.9 points a game. That's not a typo. That's the best scoring output of his entire career, and he's in his mid-30s. On top of that, he actually played 65 games, which for him is basically a miracle season. This is a guy who has spent the better part of the last 5 years treating load management like a religion. 65 games is the second time in 3 years he's hit that number, and Raptors fans are out there acting like he's suddenly turned into an Iron Man. I get the excitement, I really do, when a player like that puts up numbers like that. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, but here's where I need everybody watching this to pump the brakes with me. Kawhi Leonard is 35 years old. 35. And this isn't some guy with a clean injury history who just happened to slow down a little. This is a player whose knees have basically become a season-long storyline every single year he's been in the league. One good, mostly healthy year does not erase a decade of load management headlines. It doesn't erase multiple missed playoff runs. It doesn't erase the fact that his own team has had to plan around him not being available on a nightly basis for years. And look at what Toronto gave up to get him. Go check the trade grade yourself. Because analysts across the league are raising eyebrows at just how much draft capital and young talent the Raptors packaged together for a player who is, by every metric that matters, on the back nine of his career. That's not a shot at Kawhi's talent. When healthy, he's still one of the most dangerous two-way players in basketball. The problem is that word, when it's doing an enormous amount of heavy lifting in that sentence. Now here's the part that really gets me fired up. Reports are already coming out that Toronto isn't just trading for him for 1 year. They want to extend him. We're talking about locking this guy into the 2028-2029 season. Let that sink in. The Raptors are about to hand a multi-year commitment to a player who will be pushing 40 by the time that deal wraps up, a player with one of the most extensive injury histories of any superstar in the modern NBA. If you're a Raptors fan watching this, I want you to ask yourself honestly, has this front office ever shown you it makes decisions based on patience and long-term stability? Because from where I'm sitting, this looks like a franchise chasing a moment instead of building a foundation. Drop a comment below and tell me, am I wrong here? Because I want to hear from Raptors fans too, not just Knicks fans. If you think I'm being unfair to Kawhi, say in the comments. I read every single one. Let's talk history for a second, because this isn't the first time Toronto has bet everything on Kawhi Leonard. Remember 2018? Nobody wanted to go to Toronto. Kawhi didn't want to be there. He made that painfully clear. But the front office rolled the dice anyway, and it actually worked out about as well as it possibly could have. They won a championship, the one and only in franchise history. And what did Kawhi do the very next summer? He left. He walked right out the door the moment he had the chance, off to Los Angeles, never looking back. So forgive me if I don't get emotional about Toronto's front office suddenly being all in on Kawhi Leonard loyalty, because history tells a very different story. Now, apparently, this time is supposed to be different because reportedly Toronto was the only team Kawhi actually wanted to go to. Fine, I'll give them that. Maybe he's older, maybe his priorities have shifted, maybe he genuinely wants to be there this time around. I understand why the front office jumped on that. When a star of his caliber tells you he wants to be in your building, you move heaven and earth to make it happen. And I get why they think adding him gives him a real shot to compete with the new standard in the East. That would be us, by the way, the Knicks, the defending champions. The team every single squad in this conference is building their roster around beating. And that's exactly where I want to land this. Because even in the absolute best case scenario for Toronto, even if Kawhi stays healthy, even if he plays 65-plus games again, even if that extension somehow ages beautifully, none of that changes the fact that the Knicks are still the Knicks. We are the defending champions of this league. We are the team that is chasing back-to-back titles. There is not a single roster in this conference, and honestly not many in this entire league, that we cannot go through if we're playing our brand of basketball, Toronto included. Back in 2018, a move like this from the Raptors would have felt like a real threat. It would have kept Knicks fans up at night. But that's not where we are anymore. We are not the team that has to worry about what everybody else is doing in the offseason. We are the team that everybody else is building their entire summer around trying to catch. That's a massive difference, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. So here's my final take, and I want you to tell me if you agree in the comments. The Raptors are celebrating today because they think they just landed the missing piece. But knowing Kawhi Leonard's track record, knowing his body, knowing how these veteran superstar bets have gone historically around the league, I would not be shocked if a year or two from now, Toronto is sitting there wishing they could hit rewind on this entire trade. This is all the makings of a decision that looks great on paper in July and completely falls apart by February. If you made it this far, you already know what I'm about to ask. Smash that like button. It takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely tells this channel that this content is landing. Drop a comment. Tell me your prediction for Kawhi and the Raptors this season, and let me know which other offseason move you want to break down next, because we got a lot more coming this summer. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss it. As always, this is Knicks News, and until next time, let's go Knicks.